Okay, good morning. It's May the 29th. We're coming close to the end of the merry month of May, this beautiful month dedicated to Our Lady. And it occurs to me, I want to show you, and I don't want to block my Lord and Savior. As I contemplate that picture of our Lord with the children, I got that actually at an auction during a time when my local church was being renovated. We needed the parish priest at that time needed to, raise a lot of money. It's not cheap to renovate a church, especially, in this modern world, right? And our church was about to celebrate 75 years. Now, for those of you who live in Europe, 75 years is no big deal. But in Canada, we're still a missionary country, right? So there's not very much that's new. Well, that's old, traditionally old, in the form of architecture anywhere in North America. So a 75-year-old church is a historical church almost to this point for Canadians. And as a consequence of, this modern world, everything got so expensive. Anyway, the point was, some of the pieces of art had to be sold. Now it's not an expensive. I suspect that painting was probably rendered sometime in the 70s, during the hipster, well, I guess you wouldn't call it hipsters. That was more an 80s thing. And it wouldn't be really flower children, kind of. But anyway, the point is, it's sort of like a retro painting. But it's beautiful because it just demonstrates how, even in modernity, the church can be beautiful. And Jesus taught and created that church. And that's what's so beautiful about it. Because it's Jesus' church. It's what he created. Not what any of the popes created. Even Peter, our first pope, didn't create this church. The laws and the magisterium comes from Jesus' teachings only. And fortunately, because of that, Jesus' teachings cannot be altered. There's a reason why women don't run the church. Because women are women. We have a skill set. Patriarchy is considered a bad word. It's not. We have a patriarchal church. You cannot change that. It cannot be changed. Many times over the course of its 2,000-year history, that there's been an Eve in the mix trying to mess things up for Jesus. There's always going to be Eve in the mix trying to mess things up for Jesus. Always. Pope Leo, I'm confident you will come to understand that. Mary is the one you look to. Mary, always. She's our feminine leader. She was never Pope. Why? Because she's not supposed to be. She's a mother. A mother. Not a whore. A mother. She extols beauty and value and purity and piousness and obedience. That's what Mary is. Obedience to Jesus. She was his mother. He was supposed to obey her. No, 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 no. He was Jesus. She had to obey him. Women cannot be God, neither can men. God can be God. It doesn't matter that you're the Pope. You can't change the church. Jesus created the church. Now, the encyclical on AI that was just made has some validity to it. Artificial intelligence cannot replace God. Cannot be done. It's not possible. There's only one God. He's three triune. God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Ghost. End of story. 3 in 1. Evil cannot beat good ever. It's the natural law. That's why women cannot be men and men cannot be women. It's a natural biological law that can be proven. Artificial intelligence can never, ever compete in a world where there is God. And the Pope's encyclical, I have not read it. I'm sick and I cannot be trusted in my sickness and in my femininity and in my humanity to be interpreting such things, especially in court when it comes to matters of faith. Because when it comes to matters of faith, God gives each of us the gift of understanding. AI can never understand. That can never happen in AI. It can formulate data. It can compile all kinds of stuff. It can make a best guess. But it can never understand why. The why. The eternal why. Why were we created? You know, it's a mystery. It will always be a mystery to humanity. It's supposed to be. We're not supposed to know in this world. We're in this world, we're striving toward the next. Elon Musk knew that. On a deep, inherent level, spiritual level. That's why he wanted to go to Mars. God's ways are not our ways. It's us who have to conform to his ways, not he to us. Encyclicals that come from a pope are meant to be discussed and looked at and considered as we move forward in this world, this evil, evil, evil realm that wasn't God created for only good. But guess who messed that up? I almost said a bad word because I am a human being. And that word began with a letter F. And believe you me, it wasn't about father, but God is our father, all of our father. That's why patriarchy is good. We cannot eliminate the man from his fatherhood any more than you can eliminate the woman from her motherhood. Patriarchy is good. It is divine. Divine. There's some guys all throughout history that were not comfortable being God. Divine, I mean. Not comfortable being divine without being feminine. I suspect that's why there's same-sex attraction, there's this gender confusion and all that nonsense. But the point is, the feminine miracle and mystique is powerful, especially among men. Any man, even a gay man. She holds no power over God. That's the reason. That is why he's God. And she can hold no power over AI either, really. But if it was definitely, AI is definitely the result of a Eve-like influence. Because Eve wants, because of the power she's been given by God, she wants to be God more than a man does. That's why she can never head the church. That's why a woman could never head a church. Look, I ask you, everybody, I've been in the workforce. Everybody wants to work for a man. Nobody wants to work for a woman. Meghan Markle, Erica. I don't know what your stories are, but you're women. And therefore, fallible beyond any man. Beyond any man. Women are so beautiful. Everything about them is beautiful. You know, so it's understandable that women suffer same-sex attraction probably to a larger degree than men, because women are beautiful. It formed beautifully. So are men. But there's an edge to a man. There's an edge to everything there is about a man that is masculine and beautiful. So let's remember, ladies and gentlemen, women have a place of honor in the church. And the highest place of honor a woman could ever achieve and hope to achieve is that of the honor that Mary receives. She got to love Jesus in his humanity, God in his humanity. She got to hold him in her womb. How close can anybody be to God himself more than that? Nobody. A human woman participates in that beautiful, beautiful act of creation that God gave to us, to men as well. But he trusted women with his very body, a woman. That's why abortion is so evil. That's why so much evil has flourished on this planet when humanity decided it was okay for a woman to kill that child within her womb. It's never been okay. Women always know that. That's why so many women are suffering today from the consequences of being forced, coerced, manipulated, brainwashed into doing it. Why women all over this world have been tortured because of their body that is so desirable. It's been turned into an evil influence, created for the beauty of life to be entered by their husband physically in order to co-create humanity. That's a responsibility. That's a beauty. It's a wonder. It's a gift God gave us. And in this world, would have you exploit that as a woman? Try to achieve what you're not meant to achieve because you've already won the supremacy battle against men. Because you can be trusted with God Himself inside your womb. Each and every one of us. Think of that. Women don't want to be rulers. They want to be protected and cherished and nurtured and adored. Men don't want that kind of adoration. They want respect and love and honor and trust. And to be considered beautiful and marvelous because of their masculine genius, the strength within and without that a woman could never achieve, because she's not meant to achieve. She's meant to love unto death, her own. In nature itself. Consider what mother would not die to protect that baby. She could take or leave her men, but her babies, that is what my fight has always been about. Protecting first God's will in my life. God's will. And do it, no matter how much I hate it. I don't want to be exposed in this way to the world. My whole life, I always wanted to disappear. Not be seen because I'm different. And I am in pain because I can feel a room that I'm in, not just read it. There's a lot out there like me. AI cannot replicate this. God has already won the battle. Mr. Trump and Mr. Hegseth, AI cannot be used as a weapon because it will destroy you first and humanity second, because you're not God. And AI will give you the supreme power that can make you think you're God. But you don't want to go down that road. That's why gain-of-function research is so evil. Mr. Gates, Mr. Fauci, Soros, Schwab. That little brainchild came to you guys when? In the 70s? When computers used to fill rooms? You needed to have just one computer. You needed a whole wing of a NAIT University. An entire wing of NAIT University in Alberta, Edmonton. University Hospital in Edmonton. Consider what it was in the 80s. It was an entire room, one little computer that you could hold in your pocket today. That's innovation. It's not God. It's not creation. Come on. That's why everything AI is so artificial. Anyway, Mr. Return to Tradition guy, I don't remember, but that's who I'm watching today. He's discussing the encyclical. New disturbing details emerge about Pope Leo AI encyclical. It's only a document this guy and has dreamed up, just like Francis. These are not laws that can be changed. He cannot change anything. He can, the idea that gay, yeah, there's gay priests, whatever. They're not called to have sex. They're supposed to be celibate. You're no longer a sexual being as a priest. Just like children are not sexual beings. What is it, 5 minutes, 10, 20 minutes at most it takes to do? When you turn sex, intercourse, the commingling of two bodies, sexual, out of desire, you're reducing that act of the marital act to nothing more than a bowel movement. Sneeze means nothing. Why do you have to model yourself after what your groin tells you want? Women falling for that nonsense too. Yeah, we can get pleasure out of sex. Of course we're supposed to. But what we are sexually is nothing. Nothing. It's a body function. It's the love and it's a beauty that comes into that act that can only be experienced when you are open to creating life with your partner in life. Even gay people, previous to what was it, this movement, this liberating movement that started somewhere in the 1800s, gay men got married and had children. They performed the act, the marital act. They may not have gotten a lot of pleasure out of it, but they must have gotten something, or else, they couldn't create children from it. But when you decide as a woman or a man that you want to make your sexual urges dictate to you how you think, who you are, what you are, that's pretty superficial, isn't it? You've reduced yourself to nothing but a commodity, a lump of flesh that can be used. That's not what God intended for us. The sexual act is something that it should be cherished and honored and looked to like it is, as what it is, an urge to survive, an inbred need to procreate, to reproduce yourself. That's godly. 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 That's why same-sex attraction is a sin. It goes against what God created us to be. Just because it's a sin doesn't mean that you're lesser. We're human. We're full of sin. Thanks to Eve. Not Adam. Well, yes, Adam. Excuse me, because Adam said, yeah, it was that bitch's fault. which is cute and funny in a way. But isn't it wonderful that God gave us Mary and Jesus? All men are supposed to be Jesus. Jesus was God in human flesh. That's what he created you to be. But you're not God. And the minute you think you are, that's a sin, an evil encroaching. And evil will take over AI. And all these environmentalists are, those people that were telling you that carbon matters and all that nonsense. Net zero people, the greenies. Why aren't you up in arms over the AI nonsense? The power that it takes to store that data that is worth so much and control so many, can control every human being on this planet. That power will destroy the environment, destroy water, destroy everything that you've been fighting for and pretending that you live for, and people like me should die for, to honor the environment. Pope Leo, maybe you should consider that encyclical. The infiltration of a new God environment in the church, right? Politics is not for popes. They are, however, in this world, and they have to address things from time to time that are happening in the political realm, as Jesus would. And so this encyclical is considered information, and the judges so far seem to be holding up the right to refuse data to a war machine, Mr. Trump. No. No matter how good the United States is, it is prone to evil. Take a look around. You're not God. Never were. Do God's work. God's will be done. If you're attempting to use artificial intelligence as a weapon, there needs to be something done to stop that. Because nuclear weapons are what got us into this mess, remember? Once you have the ability to control life and death on that kind of scale, you need to get some rules around it, international rules, agreements, Cold War era kind of agreements. Nobody uses mutually assured destruction kind of stuff. No. No. So rethink these data center nonsenses. Where that power is going to go, who can wield it, and why. Because that power is too powerful for an ordinary human being. Any ordinary human being or group thereof. Because we're evil. We can be very evil. We can do very evil things. That's what Satan's all about. There can be no good now without evil. And the deeper you go into goodness, the more prone you are to deep evil. That's true. You know, that's what Ted Bundy taught me. Charismatic guy. Women accepted him as a normal person, as a kind person, as a good person, because he had good in him, because he was created by God. But his sexual nature created evil beyond belief. I knew nothing about how evil a serial killer's mind could be until I was a teenager and Ted Bundy, Seattle, Washington's news made it all the way up to Kamloops, British Columbia. And I knew there was an evil guy out there doing bad things. And how shocked the world was that he was such a good-looking guy, charismatic guy. Satan doesn't present himself as a monster, he is. He's beautiful, attractive, charismatic. And you have to be guarded, always. Even when you're Pope. Because the temptation is bad. That's why the Holy Catholic Church, the people, need to pray. That's the lay's influence on the church. Prayer, prayer. Pray for our priests. Pray for our bishops. Pray for our Pope. Be as holy as we can be. God has set you in your state of life for a purpose. The only way you're going to know what that purpose is through prayer, contemplation, opening up that relationship with God himself through prayer and his church that he created. He came down and gave us that beautiful church, the deposit of faith, the magisterium, to show us the way, regardless of what you believe. If you're not a Christian, that's fine. But God's speaking to you regardless. The golden rule is real. It was given to you, to us all in our humanity, for one purpose: to know God, to seek God, to serve God. So we can be forever joyful in this world and forever eternally with him in the next. That's what it is. That's what this journey through this world is all about. We cannot lose sight of that. We cannot look at the other human person without remembering that's a child of God. And yes, that child of God could do some pretty evil things. Mr. Carney, don't do it. Please. Join the forces of good. You know where they are. There's a still small voice that speaks to your stomach, not to your brain. That gut instinct is given to us by God to help us. Then when a hair stands up in the back of your neck, it's there. Listen to what God is trying to say. That's your guardian angel, I believe, saying, tap it, tap, 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 tap. Hey. There was a Flintstone cartoon many, many years ago when I loved cartoons, Flintstones especially. Yeah. Modeled after Jackie Gleason and what was the name of that? The Honeymooners? I don't know what the name of that show was, but yeah, he used to threaten to beat his wife. Yeah, there were men that did that. That's wrong. Men that lost sight of how they're supposed to love, cherish, protect the weaker and the beautiful, The more beautiful of the species, the human species, is a woman. Regardless of what she looks like. There is beauty in all feminine. There's beauty in all masculine, too. It's just a little harder to see. Yes. Yes. AI is evil if you let it. If you don't regulate it. Mr. Elon Musk might be able to help the world understand how to regulate it. What rules need to be universally accepted. Mr. United Nations, nasty people. Get the hell out of the world's way. God's way. Get out of God's way. Do the right thing. Come up with some legislation around AI that is universally accepted, even by North Korea. Because humanity is the closest we can ever get to being God. But only if we don't forget that we're human. And each and every human individually is created for a very special purpose by God alone. Every human being, whether you can see them or not. Evil started to hold sway over this world the moment women were convinced that that baby, that human being within their womb, doesn't necessarily have to be protected, nurtured into life. We've not done very good since then. Stop it! Pope, I'll pray for you. I love you. Thank you for choosing the honor and the responsibility it is to be the head of Jesus' church, not yours. Jesus' church. What would Jesus do? Wonderful. What would Jesus do? Jesus wouldn't glorify sex. In fact, Jesus himself condemned the idea of sex controlling behavior, that baser instinct. It's a sin. Outside of marriage, it's a sin. It needs to be confessed. Outside of marriage, the marital union between a man and a woman, for one purpose and one purpose alone, to participate in the creation, God's created world of humanity. We used to know that. That's what marriage was about. Until somebody decided to change the meaning of marriage. Yes, two gay men love each other. Yes, they can have a connection beyond sex. But it's not a marriage. It's a union of sorts, but it's not a marriage. Because marriage is designed as a sacrament. And when you take those marriage vows, you vow to welcome children that God gives you. That's why marriage has meaning and should be protected by the laws of the lands. It's a sacrament. It's a covenant between you, your spouse, your husband or your wife, and God. It's like a little church in and of itself. Priests aren't supposed to have sex, so their sexual nature shouldn't enter the picture. Whatever their predilections might be, are cast aside They're not supposed to even dwell on it. Because it's not who they are. It's what the body was designed to do. Just like it was designed to digest food. You want to take a partner into the toilet with you? Some people do that. Weird. Again, against natural instincts. But each their own, I suppose, as long as they're adults. You know. But the sexual urges, when we give ourselves up to them, it's sinful, even in marriage. Just so you know. Anyway, I went on too long. I don't know. 40 minutes, 45. Oh my goodness. Have a good day. Let's get some regulations. Globalists. Let's get on that one. And environmentalists. Start objecting to these data centers, please. They're going to destroy, how much wood, coal, fossil fuels, nuclear weapon, nuclear reactors, hydroelectrical powers. Do you think you're going to need to produce power for these data centers? Think about that. We're not supposed to drive a car? And you quietly saying nothing about data centers? Come on. Anyway, consider just chatty granny, great granny. Take my advice or leave it. I don't care. I'm compelled to speak. I'm answering God's call. As ridiculous as it might seem, that's what I'm doing. I hope I don't put him. I hope I don't drive anybody from God, because He's all love. Once you get to know, once you're in relationship with God, everything will be okay. God has got it. God's got it. Thanks be to God. Have a great day. I love you all. Goodbye.